action begins. Our referee in charge, William Bookwalter.
Bill Bookwalter will call the shots.
Here I stand, innocent and lost, broken limbs, prove that I am guilty by dissociation, on an accessory. Guilty by dissociation, on an accessory.
Chkm8 MMA.
Hey, we're back on a Friday afternoon, Fight Show episode 67, what we'll call the definitive, the 717 edition. Supposed to have a guest with us. He's running a little late, not his fault. This is what happens when you try and schedule stuff with professional fighters the week before they fight. But Dustin Pague hopefully will be joining us soon. The disciple, former training partner of this man over here, Bill Bookwalters. We will be getting to him soon. Again, this is what happens when you try and schedule stuff with guys during fight week.
Well, I think it's
appreciate you, Justin.
well, it's one of those things. It's like these guys are high profile, and I want them to be, I want this to be as easy for them to do as possible, not to get in the way of anything else they got, they would need to do for their fight promotion. So make it easy.
When we get a chance to link up with the guys during fight week, when we get a chance to link up with the guys during training camp, we're always super appreciative.
Yep.
Everybody that makes the walk gets respect. We want this to be easy. We want it to be easy. Dustin had a promo shoot this morning. So that might be running a little bit behind. Of course, that takes preference over little old me and Mr. Mannheim Strangle Bill Bookwalter. But this is episode 67. Again, we'll call it the 717 edition. Hopefully Dustin will be able to have time to join us shortly. If not, we'll get him on the back end. But we are powered, as always, by Chkm8 Specialty Roasters. I'll throw the banner up here. Do a little bit of filler. Full episodes of our show available at Chkm8 MMA on YouTube. We'd appreciate if you guys subscribe anywhere that you get your content. Clips available on all social medias at Chkm8 MMA. And of course, we have our fresh roasted to order specialty grade organic coffee available at tinyurl.com/Chkm8 Roasters. Use the code Chkm8 CHKM8 for free shipping on your order. 6 flavors. The holiday drop is going to stay up for a couple more weeks by request. We got it up late, so we're leaving it up. It will be up till at least me and Bill get back from next weekend's Knucklemania 5 in Philly. Dustin Pague hopefully will be joining us shortly. Until then, I think we're just going to cover this, for lack of a better term, no pun intended, fire-ass card we got going on down in L.A. this weekend.
We are back. Yeah, this is varsity. Varsity's back.
Let me go ahead.
That first one. Excuse me. Jeez. Yeah, the one last week, it just didn't have a lot of name power. I'm not saying it wasn't a good card. It really was. And there was just some lower name firepower. But this one, geez, man, there's a lot of people, You've seen a lot of people in this card fight before.
Yeah, I'm pulling up here. Everything, of course, is streaming off 2 different channels. Everything's starting to be a little bit. If you're just tuning us, Dustin Pague hopefully should be along shortly. He had a photo shoot a little bit earlier, and we actually were going to do this at 12. We pushed it back till 1, hoping he was going to be done. But you know what? When you try and do stuff live on the internet, the week of fight stuff, that's what the fuck happens. Sterling, appreciate S-Dog's FMA talk. Appreciate Sterling. Appreciate you, bro. Fighter down in Texas. We've been linking up with him. You're going to see him soon. Bill, we're going to have to make a trip over to S-Dog's MMA talk and talk to sport with these guys. We got a couple collabos coming up here with some different creators. Hey, if you're here for Dustin Pague, clearly neither one of us are Dustin Pague. We see people keep popping in. We got people watching over on Instagram. We got people watching on Facebook. We got people watching on YouTube. If you're popping on Instagram, Logan Yancey on Instagram. If you're commenting on Instagram, sorry, everything's kind of fucked up because timing stuff today. Like and subscribe to S-Dog's MMA talk as well as Chkm8 MMA. If you are on Instagram, we're kind of just winging it at this point. If you're on Instagram, we can't put your comments on the screen, but Logan Yancey was on Team Canada for Muay Thai and has information to share. Logan Yancey, hit us in the DMs, and we will get with you, either get some content out for you or get you on the show. We're definitely looking to do some more Muay Thai coverage. That's one area that I don't pay enough attention to, and my homie Jason Farrell. Shout out to the homies Jason Farrell, Gary Mack at Level Up. They would be highly disappointed in me. With that, I'm going to move on. We're going to cover real quick. We're just going to bang through the upcoming UFC card. As I said, if you're here waiting for Dustin Pague, the disciple, we are clearly not the disciple. Scheduling stuff going on. We're hoping to be able to get him in here before too long, and we're kind of just filling it up. Of course, I'm going to murder half of these names, Bill. I don't like to pull this up on the screen here, but Clayton Carpenter, starting off the night, Clayton Carpenter in a flyweight bout versus Tajir Ulanbekov.
I'll be
11.
Yeah, I was going to say that's I am not super familiar with either one of those fighters, but I do know that last name sounds dangerous. It sounds like he can wrestle.
Kyle Thomas, thank you for joining us. I'll get to your comment when we get up to that fight. I will feature it. Don't worry about it, buddy. Ricky Tercios, Bernardo Sopaj. Of course, Ricky Tercios. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
I am excited to see Rinya Nakamura. Dude is a Japanese freestyle wrestling phenom. Went to, I think, the under 23 worlds in freestyle, which, again, from Japan, you don't really see that often. Against Muin, I always screw this guy, Gafarov.
Okay.
I don't know. Again, we're kind of burning through the bottom of the card here. Again, this is all kind of last minute. We were hoping to have a full interview going by now, but again, scheduling stuff happens, no big deal. So we're kind of just winging it. Weren't planning on going over this. Carol Rosas versus Eileen Perez. I've heard some talk on the internet over the last couple weeks from a few different creators.
Who is the I'm just asking general question for you, for the fans, for anybody. Who's the face of women's MMA right now? Who would you say? Because I feel like there's a market for a very, very violent woman, real loudmouth, real controversial figure.
I mean,
is it who? I mean, who has it been? It's been Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes, Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
I think you have a few. I think.
Who's the face right now?
I don't know. It's hard to I mean, clearly Kayla Harrison's the most
accomplished. Yeah.
Accomplished outside. Honestly, and we don't cover PFL a lot just because I don't agree with the way they promote their fighters and treat their fighters. We're happy for opportunities for all fighters, but we don't really talk about the PFL because I don't really know a lot of people do talk about PFL. But Dakota right now is really, I mean, if you're going to talk women's MMA and the names on a lot of people's tongues, it's hard to think outside the bubble because, like, we talk about star power. Inside the MMA bubble, there's plenty of people that people know. Do people outside of the MMA sphere know who a C-Rod is, or know who, maybe they saw Raul Rosas Jr. Chiwiwi soundbite, so they know, that's the Chiwiwi guy. Like, I don't know who. I mean, Kayla Harrison's poised to do some stuff. I mean, Tatiana Suarez is getting ready to take on Weili Zhang. We look at the level of how popular Weili Zhang is in America, which women's MMA already gets the dog end of the stick anyways from a lot of people. We respect all the fighters here. But Weili Zhang's huge in one area where she's not. You have to look at this from different perspectives. You can't just sit here as an MMA fan and say, oh, well, clearly Kayla. No, because there's levels of stardom to this shit. Like, nobody outside of the combat sports world probably paid attention to who Alex Pereira was before he came in and did what he did in the UFC. Now he's bumped up and reached that level. Sean O'Malley, perfect example, went in and reached that kind of pop culture level where he's out in the open and everybody knows who he is, whether you've ever watched a UFC event or not. The women, I think it's for to sit there and say that the guys can do this and have these two separate levels of stardom. I think it's even harder for the women to break in, but you have Kayla Harrison, you have Weili Zhang, you have Tatiana Suarez, you have Dakota Dacheva. I think if you have a couple more performances and finishes like Fatima Klein had, a lot more people are going to know Fatima Klein's name, and we've known her name paying attention to the regional circuit for a while now. So, but yeah, and that's kind of the long-winded answer to your question, I think. Kyle kind of agreed with what I said. I would say up until a few months ago, casual fans would not have known Dakota. And yeah, again, PFL could barely sell tickets to their events. They look at a lot of what the PFL goes through is negative. A lot of the news in the PFL is negative. Shout out to Patricio Pitbull and Aaron Pico being free agents.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited
Yeah.
to see that. Free Patchy Mix, free Johnny Eblin, free
Patchy
Jackson,
Mix.
free.
Ooh,
No, Patchy Mix.
Patchy
No. Patchy Mix is they didn't give that up. I'm saying the next I want to see Patchy Mix get out of his contract.
He is. No, dude, did you see? I think, unless I'm mistaken, I'm wrong a lot. No, Bellator, I think, wrapped it up.
Bellator's done. With that being said, I am going to, because we're dumbasses and we schedule stuff when more important shit's going on. We got a guy in the back. We've been talking about him. Probably had some fans. They probably left because they're like, who the fuck are these two idiots? Excuse my language. But we have a man who I'm proud to say, this is the 717 edition because we got Dustin Disciple Pague in here. We support anything 100% PA MMA, PA combat sports. And this man goes way back. I got a few flashbacks to show. Not only a TUF veteran, not only a UFC veteran, a current Bkfc superstar as far as we're concerned, and the piece de resistance, the caveat that makes him separate from everybody else. Former training partner of the Mannheim Strangler. I want everybody to give a warm shout out. If you don't know who he is, look him the hell up. Dustin the Disciple Peg, 717. What's up, brother?
Hey guys, geez, what an intro! Thank you.
Well, and that's not even the intro. That was my intro. Bill, you want to go ahead and tell him about your boy here?
What's up, Bill?
Going on 2 decades.
How you doing, man? It's been a long time.
Yeah, I missed you.
Yeah, I looked him up. Looked him up online a little earlier today. He's been the first documented fight is March of 2007. That's the first The internet wasn't invented back then, I don't think.
No, that was the first year.
Yeah, it was I think they just started that thing, so there was probably way more fights before that. But 12-11 as a pro in MMA, 3-2 with Bkfc, and MMA you did 135. You put on some muscle. It says you're fighting 165 these days. Dustin fights January 25th at the Wells Fargo. For anybody chiming in on it, he's fun fact. We graduated from the same high school. I graduated from Central Dauphin East as well.
Oh, there's a fun fact for me. I didn't know that.
Yep. No, I used to hear all the buddies telling you about how you run the hills there by the football field. So I graduated in 95 though. You were what, 2001, 2002 something?
2005.
2005. Okay, I knew you were a little bit longer, but yeah, man, I'll dive right into this. Something I just like to ask.
Hold on, before we get started, Bill. Before we get started, one more thing. I kind of stole your thunder. On the intro. I was super excited. I didn't want him. He's got a lot of shit to do this week. I didn't want him sitting in the background, but I'm gonna throw this up for you guys. Your mics will still be hot. Dustin hasn't seen these. Bill sent these to me the other day. The date on the bottom's accurate. Dustin, do you remember this?
Oh my goodness.
Probably not. I don't think I hit it one time. He's so fast.
September 10th or September 2nd, 2010. Bill sent me those the other day. I had to bring them up for the fans. Bill, carry on what you were saying. I'll let you guys get to it, and I'll jump in the back, and Dustin, I'll catch you at the end.
All right. Fun picks. All right. No, I do like to ask this to everybody because a bunch of different walks in life bring us to a point where one day we decide we're going to go step into a gym and train to fight somebody. Like, what's your why? Why did you even start this back in this before 2007? But what's your why? Why do you fight? Why do you do this?
Oh, my why. I mean, that one's easy. I love fighting, period. So it was funny. And I've told this story so many times on different interviews or whatever, but it really never gets old because it's crazy where my road started and where it took me. But so I loved fighting. I loved street fighting because that's all I knew back then. I always looked to be the one to get into a fight. I wasn't a bully and I didn't pick any fights, but I just always seemed to be the one that was fighting. Like if we went to a fight where my friend was fighting somebody, I end up being the one fighting because one, I didn't like watching my friends, fight. I felt like I should have been the one to do it. It was just always what happened, and it just felt like, especially at CD East, like every other weekend I would get a call like, hey, we're we're meeting these guys, here. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. But when I was 16, me and my buddy Chris Merritt, we were in a Blockbuster. You remember how old Blockbusters were. But I saw my first UFC DVD.
Okay.
I didn't know MMA existed at the time, or I probably would have got into it a lot longer before that, or earlier before that. But we took the UFC DVD home, and I forget which one it was. I know it was Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. It was one of their main events. So I took that DVD home. I watched it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was a sport. I didn't know this existed. Found out that Virginia and Richmond they put on at the show place that had MMA events. So I'm like, I'm going to do it. 6 months after watching that MMA or that UFC DVD, I had a scheduled fight. So it was pretty incredible.
All right. Well, that brings the segued perfect into the next question then. Who were some of the inspiration or your early inspirations? Who did you love to watch fight? Who was your can't miss guy?
I was a big Chuck Liddell fan.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe because he was, the first one I saw watching that DVD, or I don't know. He was just a fun, entertaining watch. And
yeah. He was big back when we were training when we were first starting back in 2008, 2009. He was big.
Was a scary dude. He was just knocking everybody out,
Yeah, Chuck Liddell was good with that. So, okay, so there was a day where young Dustin Pague, I like to ask everybody this one too. He woke up that morning and said, "Tonight I'll give you my earliest memory of you." For those who don't know, we used to train at a place down in Harrisburg at a Smith's painting building across from Hardee's.
Yeah.
And I remember first walking in, I had trained at Effort of Martial Arts, but it was just a small family school. It wasn't really what I wanted to do. I wanted to actually challenge myself against like some people who train to fight, not the regular accountant that does it twice a week, So I felt Blackman MMA was a good spot. So I drove down 283 and I walked through the Smith painting building, and there was a wrestling ring in the back. And Dustin was boxing. It had to be Jay Haas, because he was about your weight. It probably was Jay Haas. Jeff Smith was there. Yeah, when we started at Black MMA, there was it was a wrestling ring, but then Steve did the place real nice. How does Dustin Pague wake up one morning and say, "This is where I'm going to train that day"? How did you even hear about it? How'd you end up there?
I actually started with Steve Blackman. I was actually the one to help him get that spot to start Blackman MMA. So like I said, when I saw that DVD, UFC DVD, and I wanted to pursue MMA, there was no place around. I mean, there was no MMA gyms back then. So I heard through my friend Justin Bear. And I don't think he trained with me way back in the day, but never did compete in MMA. But he was training with Steve Blackman. He was doing jiu-jitsu down at Strawberry Square in Harrisburg. So I somehow got Steve's number, and I called him the one day, and he was probably like, "Who is this kid?" So I pretty much just poured it all on the line, like, "Hey, you don't know me, I don't know you. I heard you're famous though from wrestling," because I wasn't, like a WWE wrestling fan, but I knew he was a big deal, and he was doing like personal training, and apparently he trained in jiu-jitsu for many years. So I'm like, this is my guy. So I called him. I just pretty much said, "Hey, my name's Dustin Pague. I'm 17 years old. I saw a UFC DVD, and I told myself I'm going to fight for the UFC one day." And he's like, "Oh, okay. So what are you looking to do?" I'm like, I want to learn ground game. I want to wrestle. I want to box. I just want to fight. Like, can you train me in whatever you know? He was like, "Yeah." So we started meeting at the Strawberry Square. I would just go down there as often as possible for however much he wanted. Like, I would just somehow scrape up the money to pay Steve Blackman to train me one-on-one. And then over time, he started training me and not really even charging me. I don't know if he saw potential or what. But and then we slowly talked about opening a gym, and then Steve Blackman MMA became a thing.
Okay. All right. Well, dude, you're segueing perfect. You're flowing right along with what I got to ask you. This when people don't know, when you do these training sessions and stuff, I was part of the bigger guys. I was in the 170, 185. Dustin was kind of lighter, and I'm sure we rolled at many times throughout the thing. Just nothing sticks out in mind. But I always thought about you and like a guy like Nate Van Tassel. What was it about MMA, dude? You have a perfect skill set for boxing, bare knuckle boxing, which was not a thing back at the time. Now it is. What was it about MMA? Because you didn't have that vaulted MMA wrestling Pennsylvania background like everybody fucking has. You know, it's just, but you didn't have that, and you made it pretty darn far for not having your traditional Pennsylvania background. Why didn't you go to boxing? What was it about MMA?
I don't think boxing was badass enough in my eyes.
Okay.
Like, when you see a boxer, you watch boxing, like to me, that's just never like a sport you look at like, oh, these guys are crazy. Maybe to some people, but to me, I was like, oh, they have these big padded gloves on. Like, not that cool. But when I saw the MMA thing and the arm bars, the knees, the elbows, like just the brutal, like, despite any other word, like the badass effect of it, I think that's what really drew me in. Plus, because I always enjoyed street fighting and fighting in general, I realized that fights can go any which way, so I wanted to learn how to be a badass and part of the fight, stand up on the ground, on my back. So I think that's what kind of drew me to MMA, is just the all around kick-ass factor. Like, no matter where you are, either on your feet or on the ground.
And I'll tell you what, I'm just going to drop a side note here for anybody listening, for anybody watching. Dustin's the nicest guy. He's not some Billy badass. It's not fake. He's the nicest dude. Like, so when you're like, yeah, I had to street fight this dude for my buddy, like, you're the nicest guy. Who would do anything to get you upset? That doesn't even make sense. Like, they'd have to be way out of pocket, like way out of pocket for you to have that kind of reaction, Well,
it's funny. I always tell people I'm a lover, not a fighter, and they laugh.
Dustin, you're the nicest dude, man. Hey, yeah, you got this violent ability. That's what it is. You're in the hurt business. That's what it is. And I'm like, what the hell? You have to cross the line by so much to get a Dustin Pague fired up and ready to fight you. Like, you had to be acting like a real jackass. So
that's what I always say. I'm a violent gentleman.
Yeah. Make it make sense. But okay, so we'll move on. Like I said, 2007 was your earliest documented. You probably had so many undocumented fights. I mean, you've been in there for well over, I'm looking at like damn near 25 fights just as it is, maybe 30 fights. You probably have closer to 40, 45 fights. I remember you were on the first card. I was seeing somebody at the time, and we went down to Valhalla. You, Sean Doffenbaugh fought. You fought a guy named Chris Gonzalez. And man, that guy, and you kept going for like,
beat me up.
I didn't want to be the one to say it. You were leaking a little bit, but man, you didn't quit. And I remember seeing the star tattoo on the side of your head. I'm sitting with her, and I'm like, I think I want to join these guys. And I think that's kind of how I ended up down in Harrisburg, because I wanted to check out what all you guys were doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's I think Terrell Leach fought on that one. I remember seeing the whole team and then going down and join in. So of all those fights, if you can dial it down to one, what's the one that you could look back at? What's the war story you would tell your grandson one day when you have one? What's your favorite in-ring combat win memory moment of all time?
Can it be a loss?
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like the TJ Dillashaw fight on the Ultimate Fighter. I was so close to accomplishing the dream that I set out to do. Like, that was like the one fight. Like, hey, I'm gonna win this, and I'm gonna fight for the Ultimate Fighter Championship, or the Ultimate Fighter like champion fight, to get my 6-figure contract. Like, that was just such a dream of mine. and it was so close. I fought him in the semifinals. I lost by decision. It wasn't a close decision. I mean, he whooped me, but I love where TJ then came. Like, he was such a tough fighter, and I love that he finished a lot of top level guys and couldn't finish me. And not in a bragging way, but I felt like I could have beat him at the time. I just didn't really stick to the game plan. I just felt comfortable in my back trying to submit him, but I should have just tried to get to my feet and throw hands with him. But he was probably my most exciting fight, because I could just tell the talent in fighting him, and he was like, if you get in a fight with somebody and you're like, oh, this guy's better than me. Like,
Yeah.
not
Dude,
many times like that cross fight.
I talk about that all the time on here. I remember one time I went down to Dadda's Fight Club in Philly there, and because I knew a guy named Carl Amasu for Bellator training there. They call him Psycho. And I told him before, I said, I'm trying to find out where exactly I'm at. Like, so don't treat me like a guy off the street. You don't got to beat my ass, but don't treat me like I've never done this before. Dude, he whooped my ass. So, like, he wasn't even trying. Like, people don't understand how good these guys are, man. And I try and tell them all the time. I mean, it's a pretty well laughed about subject when, all us fat old white guys are like, oh, I would have guillotined him in the third.
Yeah.
These guys are so fucking. It's like trying to compete with an NFL running back when you fight a UFC fighter these days, or spar. They're so much better at this than everybody else. Like, that's why they're doing what they're doing. So, but another one I got for you. I remember you struck up a friendship with Donald Cerrone. Is that how you got kind of tossed into that reality show thing that we did? You trained at the Cowboy Ranch, didn't you?
Yes, I did. So it wasn't really. It was more so who you know type deal. I didn't know Donald personally, but my manager managed, I think, Leonard Garcia, who was best friends with Donald. So it's kind of like I know a friend that knows him type deal. And we linked up actually at that picture of you and I sparring. What was that for? That it was I just lost your audio, buddy. 1 second. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I don't know what I pushed.
Bill, we lost your audio.
Yeah, we lost your audio, Bill. Good. It's not just me. Price, you can't hear him?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Well, anyways,
Okay.
I digress. Until Bill gets that situated, Tanner's usually here with us. He's working today. I'm going to hit some, he usually does the rapid fire. It always makes for some good content for us. So just quick as you can. Boom, boom, boom. And you've already covered some of them, so it'll be easy. But the fighter that inspired you to get going, to start this, you said kind of like Chuck Liddell. You were a big Chuck Liddell fan? Was that the guy that inspires you, or you got another answer for that?
Yeah, him and George St. Pierre was another one. If I had to pick another one, I was always impressed with his just all around. I mean, his stand-up, his ground, his physique, his energy. He was very impressive and definitely motivating.
All right. So as a lot of us, we kind of came up in the same area around the same time with knowing some of the same people. So yeah, I kind of share that. Excuse me, that sentiment as far as where the sport was at the time. Favorite non-combat sports athlete. I don't watch any sports besides combat sports, so I never.
That's funny.
That question.
That's why I really got to think, because I'm like, I don't know. Hold on, I got to think of somebody. What non-combat sport? Yeah, what is that? Is there other sports?
Yeah. Sometimes they play some with a ball. I think I don't really know.
Yeah, like with their foot. Don't they call it like football?
Football, but you could be talking about two different types there. I don't know. We'll
Right.
skip that one. We'll think when it come back. Let
me think a little bit.
Favorite out of competition food. You have nothing scheduled. It's a Friday night. This is what I'm in the mood for. What do you want? What does Dustin the Disciple Pague eat? Favorite out of competition food.
That's so funny. You're gonna hate me for these questions because I'm such a flip-flop
regimented
favorite type of guy. It depends what mood I'm in. But what I'm in right now, because my diet's locked down this close to the fight, so I can only eat very specific, but I'm dying for some sushi right now.
Hey, can't
So
you know what? Can't go wrong with that. Sushi Heaven in Mechanicsburg. Shout out to Sushi Heaven Mechanicsburg for
yeah.
all the sushi. Your favorite post-fight food? I've cut weight. I've made competition. Win or lose, what's the disciple going for?
After fight or after weight? Because
well, all right. So we'll go after weight, fight. And then you're say after weight, after you weigh in, and then we'll go post celebratory meal. You just knock some dude out in spectacular fashion in the Wells Fargo Center. What's the disciple going to eat?
Yeah, see, because after weigh-ins, I still keep it clean. But let's go anything fried, dude.
You can't go wrong with that.
Some French fries, some fried Snickers. Who knows?
Justin Clark, shout out. Somebody local must be one here for you. Just had Sushi Heaven for lunch. Shout out Sushi Heaven.
Justin Clark. I was just hanging out with him for a video promo we just did. Justin's a best friend of mine since high school.
Okay, cool.
And
Justin, if you're in Philly, we'll be there supporting the disciple and a bunch of others. So we hope to see you if you're there.
He will be there. He's one of the Bang Barn boys.
Good. Your go-to song, either backstage before the fight or training. What gets you ready to rip faces off?
Oh, you're gonna laugh at me. I like my walkout song. I don't know why. Is "Return of the Mac" by Mark Morrison.
You can't go wrong with that. Okay, now this is gonna make you think. This is the one we make you think at the end of it, and then I'll bring the other guys back in. Out of all your training partners over all the years, who is your favorite training partner who is also a referee at the UFC level?
Probably Bill Bookwalter.
He's also he's also the co-host of this show. Anyway.
Oh, geez, Bill.
I'm back.
Tanner Canada, I didn't realize you were coming in with us, buddy. I stole your rapid fire questions. Tanner Canada, Dustin Pague. He runs the Fight Junkies group on Facebook. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt and our resident hippie from Wyoming.
What's up, Tanner? How you doing?
Now Tanner doesn't have audio.
Good to see you, man. Sorry, my mic's muted.
80,000 members strong, Dustin. So somebody's going to see this somewhere.
All right,
yeah.
Sweet. Bill,
Bill.
What was the last question you asked me before you decided to turn your mic off?
No, we were talking about your time. We were talking about your time at the Cowboy Ranch and how that. I was going to ask how that was regimented. Like, what's a typical day consist of there? Because all you ever see is Cerrone and his team like wakeboarding or parasailing. You know, what I'm assuming that there was some training that got done there.
Yeah,
like,
but that was
such
active
a great recovery. You wakeboard for their active recovery days out at the BMF ranch. Bull riding and wakeboarding is active recovery.
Yeah, that's right. But you're right. Like living there, I lived there for a couple months, prepping for a fight. But dude, that's how it was every day. Like it was awesome. You wake up, there's people, like bunch of people. He has a bunch of people live with him. So like everyone's making breakfast and just serving breakfast to people. Then we go train at what's their gym? Famous Winkle John.
Yeah, Jackson Wink.
Yeah, or Jackson Wink. Sorry.
Yeah. We drive in a big school bus van that they like spray painted, graffitied, whatever, and then we drive to Jackson's gym, train there in the morning. Then we come back to the ranch, and we would just do something fun: ride horses, 4-wheelers. Like whatever you want to do, shoot guns. We were shooting AR rifles at coyotes at nighttime. And then we do a training session in the evening at night. And then same thing. Someone makes this big dinner and then we play like Xbox it was crazy, man.
Dude, you just probably convinced 3 kids to drop out of high school and they're like, I'm going to be a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
And parents, no, stay in school, kids. Please, God, stay in school. But the last one I'll ask before I'll toss it up to Tanner if Tanner's got anything. The last one I want to ask you, I've trained mixed martial arts with you. I've trained combat sports with you. Is it like, I don't even know, because you can't spar anybody like 100%. How is training for bare knuckle fighting different than MMA? Is it like, obviously you don't have to practice the jiu-jitsu and that aspect of it, but you can't really hit anybody in the face and you can't take full on punches. How do you train for this thing? Like, is it different? Like, I'm completely ignorant on the subject. I have no idea what these guys are doing.
I think it's very similar to boxing training. As far as the aspect of, without the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling and all the other martial arts, that has saved me a lot of time as far as having a life with my family and being a full-time police officer. So I have the time to train to be a boxer because I only have one art to focus on, which is great. But as far as the difference between boxing and bare knuckle boxing, I don't think there's a huge difference as far as preparation. Obviously, during the fight, you want to be more mindful of your shots. You can't just, pitter pat and swing for the fences because you have to be a little more precise. If you catch an elbow or, catch something wrong without gloves on, you can really mess up your hand. So as far as that, but as far as the train up, I have sparring partners. There's certain days we go hard. There's certain days it's just a lot of movement and
I imagine this is the ultimate hit, don't get hit sport.
Yeah.
Even the little ones look like they could do a lot of damage. So it's like, I would assume it's like more a lot of defensive drills, a lot of head movement,
Yeah, a lot of movement, a lot of footwork. And then as long as I've been fighting, my skin, I have so much scar tissue. It doesn't take much to cut me open. Yeah. So it's definitely a concern of even a tiny little jab. Something's getting split open, Yeah. So definitely movement, definitely footwork is high on our list.
How much is it's the last one I'll ask here. I'd lie. Now you're still fighting JD Burns, correct? That hasn't changed yet.
Yeah.
Have you seen tape on the guy? Have you and your team sat down and watched him, see if he's got some tells or some things that he gives away?
Yeah, we studied JD a lot. And I just feel skill-wise, I think he doesn't have much for me, but I never underestimate somebody. Even after studying, I feel like I have a good idea of the type of fighter he is. He's tall, he's tough, but he's not very technical. So he's very, he's linear. He doesn't do a lot of lateral movement. He's pretty straightforward, head down, swing for the fences type fighter, which is great for me. I think I'm the opposite of that. I like a lot of movement, in and out, angles. So I think I'm going to be a pretty tough match for him. But I never underestimate somebody based on record, based on appearance, based on prior fights. So I'm going to be ready for war. I'm going to be ready to put him out too.
Okay, I believe big time in visualization. January 25th at the Wells Fargo. How's this go? What do you see when you lay back at night and close your eyes?
I think the first round is going to fire everybody up because I'm going to put a lot of showcase movement, a lot of angles. He's going to be swinging and missing, and I'm going to be on the other side of him. And people are going to be like, oh my gosh, this guy's a next level compared to this dude. And then in the second round, I'm going to finish him with a KO. Overhand right, slipping out to the outside.
Very nice. I like it. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll take a second, toss you up to Canada, Tanner. That's a Canner. Tanner, Canada, he owns Fight Junkies on Facebook, 80,000 plus people. So, Tanner, if you got anything for Dustin, fire away.
What's up, man? I asked the last person we had on the show this too. I don't know if Bill's been over it, but I just wonder if you're feeling or how you're feeling with pressure wise. I know you've been around the block. You've fought in major promotions, that's no new stranger to you, but you're in your home state. It's a history-making event being Bkfc at the Wells Fargo in Philly. How is this in your element? Are you what are you? Oh,
he was offended by your question. He says, "I'm leaving now."
Hey, right? Sorry guys.
No worries.
I'm back in.
Yep.
Yeah, I just
cool. Sorry,
once again the pressure being in.
I can't hear you, Tanner.
Being in Philly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, there we go.
I was just saying, history-making event happening at the Wells Fargo. I know you've been around the block fighting on major promotions, so that's no stranger to you, but fighting in Pennsylvania here at BKFC and such a big event and stuff, how are you feeling with that? Are you feeling any pressure? Are you in your element?
I feel pretty much the same for every fight. I feel like the pressure is pretty equal no matter where I am. From my first amateur fight to walking out in the MGM, it all felt the same. I always have this crazy, anxious nervousness for every single fight. I've had over 60 fights, and you would think it would get a slightest bit easier, but it doesn't. No matter where I am, who's watching, it never gets better. But the great thing about every single fight, as soon as the bell rings in any fight I've ever had, the very first bell, when the fight begins, it all goes away.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoosh, like
There's no time to cry about it now. You're in here. You're in
Yeah,
here now.
so that's
Oh shit, dipped out.
Yeah, we
Somebody
got to
called me
preface,
again.
guys. We got to start prefacing with guests. I always forget to say this.
Oh.
We learned it firsthand with Bill Bookwalter. If you're using an iPhone to get on FightShow, probably want to put your do not disturb on. Dustin Disciple Pague probably got another phone call. We'll bring him back here in a minute to say goodbye.
Yeah. I want him to be able to put out his socials and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. We'll bring Dustin. If you can still hear it, we'll bring you back in when you come back in. He's out. Camera's off.
Armin
He's got a lot of stuff going on.
Sarukian is out of UFC 311.
I wanted to say that.
No.
Bill. Armin, yeah, I didn't want to interrupt the interview, Bill. Armin's out, injury. They're looking for a replacement, possible.
Charles Oliveira has been seen on the treadmill.
Moicano.
Volkanovski.
They're talking Moicano.
Q land down under. Cue that little intro.
You come from London.
Oh, Dustin's back. Hold on. Here we go.
Dude.
Hey, yeah, you missed it. We didn't want to interrupt the video. Can you hear us, Dustin?
I hear you guys. I'm so sorry.
No, it's no worries. You got an iPhone, don't you?
Yeah, and I have a cardio stress test that's required by the State Athletic Commission. I have that at 3, and they're like calling me nonstop to confirm. I'm like, geez, people. But anyways,
Armin Sarukian's out of 311. You heard it here first. Well, you probably did. Well, you heard it here first. Other people heard it other places. Yeah, pulled out with an injury.
That's wild.
So if you're following the UFC event tomorrow, Armin Sarukian is out. They're looking for a replacement. There's talks of Money Moicano fighting for the title.
That would be interesting to watch. Yeah, dude. Oh, if you're Dana White, all you gotta do is find somebody to fight Makhachev on 24 hours notice. No.
Yeah, no big deal.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll save the card. You just to see Makhachev beat the hell out of an old dude. But I'll tell you what. Does anybody else? You guys got anything for Dustin?
Hey Tanner, I want to apologize for getting cut off there, but yeah, the pressure for this fight is pretty much every fight. Good news is, once that bell rings, it all goes away, and I put on a show. So,
hey, that's what Mike Tyson said. He said the training's the hard part, and the fight is party time. So, like, that's
yeah.
I'll tell you what.
My least favorite.
I remember. Oh, sorry. I remember from being at shows with Dustin, he managed his nerves very well. Like I used to watch the Diaz brothers. There's someone like, how do you do that? Like, how do you walk out? Like I'm hunched over a trash can every fucking time in the back, thinking about the worst case scenario. My nerves are going, and then there's the Diaz brothers who just don't give a shit. Like, how do you get there mentally? Like, I'd rather be at their spot than my spot.
Before he answers that, I do remember, Bill. We've had story time with Uncle Bill a few times here. Bill, take us back to Virginia when somebody from the crowd fought that night. Was that Dustin was involved in that somehow? How was that? Was he fighting that night?
Okay, let me. I will lay this out. Sean Doffinbaugh fought Josh Dugan. Now the fight was made very rapidly, but Josh Dugan was a very capable fighter. This wasn't some scrub. Josh was like a young sniper, like tying a knee in the clinch, and he's a real tough guy. So yes, that fight with Sean and him got matched. And Sean Doffinbaugh ended up beating the hell out of that guy. Man, I wish the ref would have stopped it a little earlier. For a free fight, amateur Josh Dugan ended up pretty messed up. Sean Doffinbaugh took him down, got the mount, and spent about 7 minutes in mount just beating the hell out of this kid.
Okay,
and,
we've heard several disciple stories. I wasn't sure if that was the Dustin the Disciple Peg story or that was.
I don't think Dustin was higher profile. He never got matched from the crowd. He wasn't like, he wasn't some guy just trying out.
After what he
Dustin
said,
was
though,
fighting.
I wouldn't be surprised if he says he showed up to his show one night and they asked him if he wanted to fight and he just jumped out of the crowd and jumped in the cage. That wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I did one time. I was helping.
Okay.
So I was helping Scott Howard out with what was it? It was in like Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Okay.
Gladiator or something.
Yeah. Gladiator fights. Yep.
Yeah, and was it GCA was the sanctioning body? I think
Rick McCoy's Global Combat Association. Yes.
Yep. So I was signing off raps, helping out with that, and Eric. You have to check my amateur record if they have it on it. It's like Eric something. He was a weight class above me, but I always bring my stuff to those shows that I help out, because if someone falls through, they're looking for somebody. So yeah, his opponent never showed. It was at 155. They're like, "Would you want to fight this guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got my stuff in the car." So I come back in, I weigh in with shoes on. I was 152. They're like, "All right, you're good to go." So I fought this guy and armbarred him a minute into the first round.
I'm getting
Eric
reports
Rasmussen,
also.
April 19th, 2008.
Was that it?
Go ahead, Tanner.
I'm getting reports Money Makano is
Tanner interrupted
in.
me for no fucking reason.
Oh Jesus,
No,
that's cool.
we got a new main
Money
event for
Makano is on for the
311. Money
title tomorrow.
Makano is in.
That's wild.
Oh, geez, that was
Yes,
quick.
no, back to what he was saying. Eric Rastetter,
Rastetter,
Gladiator
that's
Fight
it.
Club 3, April 19th, 2008. Armbar, minute 8, round 1. Dude was checking wraps. This is the character of the individual we're talking to here. Dude was checking wraps way back in 08. Had his gear with him. Took a fight. Finished it with an armbar in 1 minute and 8 seconds. That's the 717 zone Dustin the Disciple Pague.
Oh, baby.
That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I feel like that happened to us a lot. Salim Jackson took one. Ricardo Mangrum took one off the sidelines. Like the Blackman MMA fight team would show up to weigh-ins, and there was always a guy or two extra fighting that we hadn't intended on. But it was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Always be prepared. I liked it. One of my favorite quotes is, "It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared."
Yeah.
So stay prepared. Something comes up, you're ready to run.
I got it, man. Yeah, you are, man. You're doing your thing. I just wanted to say, like, personally, I'm proud to have known you over the years. Like I said, I was one of the fatter guys. You were one of the lighter guys, but I'm sure we got the training in. We went through the same drills, same training stations, same cardio, same round robins in the cage, and man, you've been doing it for a long time, man. You're coming up on 20 years. You can ask anybody. I always tout, if you've been able to stay relevant in the combat sports space area for 20 years, that's incredibly hard to do. You got to have some next level drive, some next level preparation and motivation. So,
Thanks, Phil.
Tanner Garrett, you got anything for Dustin before we let him? We want you to plug your socials. Tell people how they can help you out.
I just wonder if you also had any advice.
We appreciate. Oh, go ahead, Tanner.
I just wondered if you had any advice for any new athletes, like starting out in combat sports, or anybody thinking about getting into combat sports, or anybody doing the thing in combat sports. If you had any advice or words of wisdom?
Absolutely. I'm nothing special. Obviously, I had the passion. I had the mindset to be a good fighter because I refused to quit. Those are always good qualities, but the main thing to get to where you want to be, to reach your goals, is consistency. You have to be disciplined enough to be consistent. And that means when you're getting married in 6 days and you leave for the Ultimate Fighter and you can't eat or drink at your wedding because you have to make weight, like you have to sacrifice certain things. So, but yeah, anybody that wants to be a great fighter, you just have to be consistent. You have to train. You have to be prepared to train regardless of what you have coming up in your life,
Awesome.
Yeah, well, that's kind of good answers, right? Young Riley Kadish, good friend of the show here. Got a jiu-jitsu tournament coming up February. Any tips? I feel like Riley, he just answered your question for you. I also want to say, Dustin, if you guys are bringing any young guys, former Marine veteran over here, this guy's young and hungry, and as soon as he found out you were on the show, he was in my inbox going, "Oh man!" So if you're accepting any tutelage and any training, you're trying to give out some tips and tricks out there in Carlisle, if you got room for a young guy, we'd like to get him hooked up. And of course, after this fight, you got a fight coming up. But
who's this? Riley? You're talking about?
Riley. Yeah, Riley Kadish, good friend of the show. I've known his dad for about a decade. He actually came on the show, started training locally, and then we got him hooked up with a couple other gyms. But he's just a young guy coming up in the 717, and we're trying to make sure me and Bill, from everything that we've learned over our time in the space, make sure we get him in with good people and we keep him away from the snakes. So if you got some training stuff going on, let me know, and we'll gladly send the kid up your way, and he can learn from somebody that's got almost 20 years experience and a stand-up dude as far as we're concerned.
Absolutely, man. Riley, if you're still watching, shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll link up, buddy.
Yeah, if not, I'll get you guys linked up. Ride, don't worry about it. Dustin, we appreciate more than anything. It's the Friday before you're getting ready to fight. Clearly not tomorrow, but the next week you're getting ready to go into fight week. You have a lot of stuff going on with the commission and stuff. We appreciate you. Maybe we get you back in a couple weeks after that knockout win at the Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
We talk about the whole experience. Cool.
I'd be honored.
Hey, we'd be honored to have you, Dustin. Thank you. As always, we're gonna let you scoot out of here. You guys got anything else? You want to give them your socials or where to find you or anything?
You guys all good?
Yeah,
I just want to thank God for just blessing me with such great people in my life. I have such great family that's supportive, great friends that just have my back, and they've been along this long journey of mine for many, many years, and it's continuing to get better. So I just have such great people in my life that God has blessed me with. So thank you. Just find me on social media. Everything's simple. Dustin Pague on Facebook, Dustin Pague on Instagram. And big shout out to my wife. She's been with me 17 years. She's been along for this whole ride. We got together my second amateur fight. So she is my rock. She supports me 110%. So thank you, baby.
Takes a special lady for sure. It's not fight life is not an easy life. It's not just the fight night, there's a lot more that goes into it. So yeah, shout out to any woman that puts up with this.
Yes. But hey, I really appreciate you guys having me on. Sorry I was a little late.
No worries. No sorry
today
needed. We appreciate your
crazy.
time. We appreciate your time. And like I said, if we get the opportunity to link up with you on the way to the arena, we definitely want to see you, shake your hand, and let everybody know that we riding with Dustin the Disciple Peg next Saturday. Bkfc.
Yeah,
Philly,
baby.
Wells Fargo. Buy the fucking pay-per-view, guys. Dustin, we'll see you soon. Appreciate
you.
Thanks as always.
Great catching up. Love you guys.
See you,
Love you,
man.
bro. See you soon. Dustin Peg, everybody. Threw me off the loop there for a little bit. We had the scheduling issues, but hey, like we said, we appreciate him coming in. He's got to go get all kinds of, I don't want to say old guy tests, but Pennsylvania.
No, Dustin's such a quality dude. He's one of those guys. If you drop $100 bill, you don't got to worry about it. He's just gonna pick it up and give it back. Like Dustin's a quality. I mean, there's more than that. But I'm saying he's just a genuinely a good guy.
Solid.
One of the good guys
of the earth
sport.
people. We don't breed a lot of assholes around here in the 717. We're truly salt of the earth people. We'll give you the shirt off your back. Just don't go around claiming you own shit you don't, and then we're nice and everything's fine. With that being said, Armin Sarukian, I'm fucking ugly crying right now, dude.
Wow. Yeah.
Out.
How did you not
Money
know about
Moicano
this
is
before,
confirmed to step in.
What is it?
Money Moicano is confirmed by Dana to step in.
I love it. We missed out on all the cool promo clips. Oh my God. Could you imagine like a month of Money Moicano? No, he's fighting for the title.
I'm going to be glued to my TV tomorrow night.
The amount of shit talk we missed out on. Oh,
bro,
man.
If he's
Carl says bet the house on Money Moicano.
I'm
probably not, bro.
I'm like
not.
Snoop Dogg. I'm Snoop Dogg high on Money Moicano. That's how high I am on Money Moicano. I'm gonna say I don't know if he's there yet.
No, as an entertainer, yes, we love Money Moicano. To beat Islam Makhachev, who's probably showing signs of being one of the best fighters I've ever seen. Maybe.
Now, does he have a better chance than he did 3 fights ago? Yeah, probably. Does say again? We're looking at somebody who, and me and Tanner started talking about this the other day, and this is where I was kind of at with Armin. If you look at last year, if you look at the many conversations we've had on this show, at some point, the old, long in the tooth, old guard from the era before has to meet the young, hungry lion. And Armin is very much a young, hungry lion. Now I got to go in and redo that parlay. Damn it.
Not a gambling.
Damn it, man.
Oh, dang, yeah.
It's
I
not a
wonder
gambling show.
how that
The
works.
fuck thing is, when you
do they
said-
get voided?
When you said that, all I did was think about my parlays and how many parlays I had Makhachev in. I'm like, oh, they're all
I don't
fucked
see
now.
what the big deal is. If everybody can sit there and make jokes about the all Muslim parlay or the all their name ends in OV parlay, why can't I have a less prey parlay? You got to what?
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Has a better chance of beating Umar.
Sarukian.
Yeah, that's true. I agree
Hold
with
on.
that.
Sarukian does pray less, but that also leaves a window open for you to injure yourself.
Touche. Touche, William. Touche.
Maybe more time off to pray less isn't the answer.
Hey,
Then you
Bill,
just
They
hurt
need
if you
those
yourself.
got
breaks.
if you got 2 minutes while we're live on the internet, can you please go get the mullet and the picture and have them both in the same frame at the same time? Since you
I
opened it
can do
before
that.
we were live on the internet, only because I have the two best co-hosts in the world, and the boys are over here killing it at Checkmate. Socials are up. We appreciate everybody tuning in on Instagram. We appreciate guys like Yama. We appreciate guys like Sterling down at Straw Dogs. Bill Bookwalter's gift. What else do you get a man that has his own Diego Lopez mullet? I know we're digressing from the news of the hour with Armin Sarukian and Money Moicano, but if Money Moicano had hair like that, Bill would have a fucking mullet of that too. So shout out to the artist. I forget his name. He got a canvas
Glorious.
done for Bill Bookwalter. It's going to be hanging.
I know.
in
I
his,
will. I will. Next week, I'm gonna have Chris. We'll take this down, and I'll have Diego. I will have this shrine to Diego Lopez.
Tanner, did you get my message? Because we went to go share the stream out, and I'm on a little bit of a thing
Yeah, I
with
shared the
Facebook
stream
right now.
out, and
All right, cool.
yeah, trying to get all this stuff out and everything, like keeping up with the Joneses over here, like with all this stuff. I did not expect for this to happen this morning, like at all. Like that was the thing. I'm sitting here watching the weigh-ins. I've got videos of the weigh-ins, trying to make some stuff, and then like, where's Armin? Where's Armin weighing in? And then, oh,
Well, yeah, the chat started blowing up. Like who I saw it, and I was in my little production duties in the back, so I was able to get a post out. With the red corner, which was who everybody was tweeting, but literally, this is.
I did not
Sterling's
expect
hitting the
them
chat.
to.
Kyle Thomas is hitting the chat. Everybody's just. I did tell Kyle we'd get to this. Based on his last fight, it does seem that Umar's wrestling might not be that great in reality. I am not, however, discrediting Corey Sandhagen's takedown defense, but it didn't look too good last time, which is kind of where I'm at. I'm thinking there's levels to this shit.
I'll tell you what. Do we want to?
Umar is no Habib at all, and I think
The thing is like
getting people a little twisted.
The thing I keep going back to is Merab is not very dangerous. He's not going to hurt Umar. If anything, he's going to positionally win over the course of 5 rounds. And how the judges are these days, it's not going to take much. It's not going to take many strikes on the feet for Umar to win rounds. You know what I mean? Because the judges are going to see that Merab just kind of takes down. And I think Umar is probably going to get the better of the striking in every exchange. And if you give the judges a little something visually to see, all they're going to do is think, now I'm supposed to be given credit for strikes, not necessarily takedowns where nothing happens. So, and I'll tell you what, my final stance on that is these Russians are as good at fighting as it comes. For 3 months now, 4 months, you've known that the champion is just going to try and take you down and kind of exist until time runs out. If you are the best in the world and you can train for 3 months and you don't have that addressed, then you don't deserve to be champion anyway. So that's really the only thing you got to worry about.
Beat a champ, you got to beat the champ.
Yeah. But just get back up.
You can't. Now, there's different ways of beating the champ, though. It's not. You can't fucking do what Leon did against Bilal and then sit there and say that in the same sentence. Oh, you got to beat he beat him effectively. It might not be the most entertaining game plan, and it might not be the most sound, but where I'm thinking, and this is my thought with this, when I look at Umar, I see a crazy good kickboxer, and I see somebody who's coming up under some of the best wrestling that we have outside of America, period. Bar none, hands down. I'm not arguing these facts. I'm not arguing the dynasty. I'm not against Khabib. I respect what Khabib and them did. I have some questions on the matchmaking and the padding of the record a little bit, because I don't think at 13-0 you should be fighting a guy that doesn't have any fights, but I understand when nobody wants to fight you. Yeah. I'm saying that as Umar, as a kickboxer, I see a really good kickboxer, and I see somebody that came up with this team, dedicated themselves to this wrestling. What I see is Merab being able to move and stand with Umar, but I don't think Umar can bridge the gap between the striking and the wrestling. And again, this is a levels thing. This is not talking shit on Umar. I just don't think he's there yet. I don't think he's there to where he can bridge him to make him as effective as Merab can. And say what you want about Merab. What was it, 10 fights in a row, 11 fights in a row? After a skid, Bill? I mean, come on, you can't, again, take the name out of it. You guys, part of the MMA fan base's problem is you get on this thing where you're like, I hate John Jones because he took PEDs. I hate this. I hate that. Take their names out of it and just look at the resume.
Yeah,
And people
Marab's
don't do
fought
that.
some killers. Dude, Marab, all he does is beat former world champions. And he is the world champion. So it's not like he's a gatekeeper.
Cejudo.
Even back to the beginning, bro. Look what he did to Cejudo. Go back to the beginning. Go back to Rafion Stotts. How high was everybody on Rafion Stotts?
Yeah.
So,
No,
again,
this. I'll tell you what, you're probably never going to get this. This is not a gambling show, but he's plus 260. You're probably never going to get as an accomplished champion as Marab at plus 260 ever again in your lifetime. So, you know, his resume compared to Umar Nurmagomedov's is very, very deep. You know, that's not saying that Umar is not good enough. You know, because Yanni the Greek. You know, I watch a lot of sports talk radio. They seem to think this is Umar is like the next level with it, and he's like minus 258 or something like that. He's like pretty heavily favored against a pretty established champion. So we'll see, man. I don't know that one. That one has me kind of confused a little bit.
I personally believe, unless it's a completely one-sided ass whooping, and you go up 4 rounds to 1 on a guy, I think again, I'm not gonna be mad if Umar wins the belt this weekend. I'm not fucking like, congratulations, you made it to the top, just like your cousin, and your teammates. Like, it is what it is. I don't have hate for these guys. Everybody, I can't sit here and say everybody that makes the walk gets respect and then sit here and trash it. Nah, it is what it is. Congratulations, on to the next one. But it's not.
Well, this doesn't affect my dog's parlay, so we'll be all right.
Kyle Thomas said he put 500 Australian on Marab at 250.
Yeah, you're never going to get a guy that's accomplished again at plus 260. The reigning champ of almost plus 300 favorite. Are you shitting me? Like, that doesn't really happen.
I also want to shine some light. Everybody comments on the negative. Shout out to all class Yuri Prohaska. What he was able to do publicly for that girl, and then Dana, of course, matched it. Shout out to that. I'm a big supporter of people that use their platform to do stuff like that. You know, and again, as much as you hate John Jones did it at the last pay-per-view. Yuri's doing it. I like this.
I wish Yuri would have put out like a GoFundMe for the girl, or I'm sure I could find it. I got a couple bucks I could toss towards that. You know, my life's going okay.
Real quick, we'll burn through it. We'll just go up here because, again, we had planned on a full interview and didn't do it. We'll just go up here to we'll hit the main card real quick. Go through real quick. Boom, boom, boom. I'll call them out. You guys go through. Grant Dawson, Diego Ferreira.
Grant Dawson, that fight against Bobby Green was a fluke. Grant Dawson is a very talented fighter. He just got caught against Bobby Green. He should handle that one pretty easy, I think.
One of the best.
I think the same thing, honestly. Like
2024.
Grant Dawson's very good.
Yeah, one of the best post-fight speeches of 2024, non-Moicano, of course, with the little asterisk. Bogdan, Timu, Anthony Smith, Guskov versus Billy Elikahana.
Well, it was supposed to be Johnny Walker, which I was pumped up about. Mm-hmm. And then I guess I am correct on that, right? It was Johnny Walker, and then he had to bow out. Well, now they brought a new guy. And you know what? This is all about, it's like Dustin said earlier, this is all about opportunity. So who did they find? This is Billy Elkalena, I hope I'm not butchering his last name, but that Guskov guy, what's that?
Billy Elikana?
Elikana, yeah. No, Guskov comes in, you know, he's Timu Anthony Smith, like you said. And, man, that guy swings for the fucking fences. So we'll see. But this is he's not the most technical guy. Maybe Billy could get in here and, like I said, UFC is all about opportunity, right?
All about it. We got in a little bit of a discussion about this last night when I guess Tanner was cooking up some degenerate parlay to create generational wealth for his children's children. Jait Nalamina, Sergey Spivak.
Hey, these dogs are barking on this card, dog.
Barking on these dogs. Sergey Spivak, Jait Nalamina. Bill says absolutely no fucking way. And Bill being one of the very few people on the planet that's been in the cage with Sergey Spivak at the same time. See, when you word it like that, it kind of sounds awesome. Yeah. Bill being one of the only people that's been in the cage with Sergey Spivak, one of the handfuls, says no fucking way does he do anything against Jait Nalamina.
Here's the thing. Sergey Spivak, he could take down a guy like Derek Lewis and head and arm triangle him because Derek Lewis doesn't know shit about shit on the ground. Yeah, he's got good submissions against other big boys that don't know what they're doing. That is not who Jayton Almeida is.
John Almeida couldn't finish Derek Lewis. Remember that one?
He could have. He just decided not to. I don't know. I do remember that fight, unfortunately. But he won positions. I'm like, why isn't this guy just dropping a heat, doing whatever you
No, and I
want?
think I got an answer for that though, because as high and touted as Chkm8 Alameda is, grappling is the best defense. You don't have a better defense against wrestling and grappling unless you just like Derek Lewis, like you said, you basically prefaced it with Derek Lewis doesn't know. And again, Derek Lewis does know a little bit, but shout out to Derek Lewis, best Instagram in the game. But he just shut down. So, the old saying of, oh, you push against the guy and he pushes back. Well, what do you do if you push against the guy and he doesn't push back? Well, then your whole entire thought process goes out the window because you're used to the opposite of that. So he shut down against that. I don't know. Sergey Spivak uses the Derek Lewis playbook. Maybe he can shut down and pull something.
I think this
tricky
one's
out.
closer on paper than we realize. Sergey Spivak has only lost, I believe, in the UFC. It's Cyril Gahn, Tom Aspinall, two of the top 5 UFC heavyweights, and Marcin Tybura. He avenged that loss. Walt Harris, that was way back in the day. He strung along plenty of wins since then, and I mean, he's got finishes. Chkm8 Almeida, I think, was exposed quite a bit with that anti-grappling, as you were saying, and I mean, not even just anti-grappling. Curtis Blades put his lights out. Like, I mean, I just don't think I mean, I'm not saying he's not as good as everybody thinks he is, because he definitely is special, but I think this one is closer on paper than people realize.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if Sergey Spivak was able to pull it out based on what you just said, but judging by what Bill said, ain't no way in fucking hell. Peyton Talbot with a haircut. Rioni Barcelos from Brazil is going to round out the prelims.
I think Peyton Talbot's the truth.
Do we even, gotta, like, I mean, this is the biggest betting favorite of 2025 so far.
Yeah,
minus 1050 is what it closed it up to.
He's the truth. Yeah, that kid looks pretty good.
Truth. Kevin Holland, Renee DeRitter. I know Matt Lee is excited for this one. I am excited as well.
I think Kevin Holland wins this fight. I really do.
That last L was Matt Lee's commented on the back on Sergey Spivak. The last L was eye-opening, but I think Sergey got this one. But yeah, it might be closer than expected. Chkm8 Alameda is the kind of guy that gets KO'd because he won't let go of a leg.
He is. Yeah, no, that is accurate.
I'm anxious to see Renee DeRitter. Like I said, different rule set came from one. I think in that aspect, he's used to a little more danger than he's going to see from Kevin Holland. I think it's going to be a good fight, and I think they're probably going to hang out afterwards and go to the club.
I'll tell you what. I know that Renee DeRitter, he got a win over Gerald Meerschaert, but man, he looked like he was fleeting in that last round and a half.
Yeah,
and
I am. Well, in GM3 again, nobody slouches at this level. I am excited to see where it goes. I don't think that Kevin Holland presents the same problems that GM3 does, although I'm big on Kevin Holland. I like Kevin Holland as a fighter.
Well, if Renee DeRitter, if he starts the gas at all, Kevin Holland will put him out.
Like, hey guys, that's all the time I got. Sorry,
see, buddy.
But
see you, bro.
Yep, we'll be doing this, and then Gary Mack next week, so I'll be here for that.
Gary Mack next Wednesday. If you're a Muay Thai fan or you want to know more about it, we're making an solid effort to cover more Muay Thai, bringing more Muay Thai stuff this year. So Gary Mack next Wednesday. Next Saturday, of course, me and Bill will be in Philly. Knucklemania 5. Tanner will be bringing you everything through the page. Pay attention to that. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Tanner, thank you for taking the time to come in with us, buddy. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Yeah, I'll close out that main card.
No worries, no worries. Yuri Prohaska, Jamal Hill.
Yuri,
what are we thinking?
Yuri, dude, I think Jamal Hill is, and this isn't fan hate. I think Jamal Hill is one of them. His body of work to get to where he was at as a champion, it was not that impressive. If you look at his last 4 or 5 fights, if you saw the names on there, you'd be like, who the fuck are some of these guys? And yeah, you did. You hung in there striking with a 45-year-old Glover Teixeira. You did. But Yuri was being pretty competitive with Pereira before he got knocked down, flashed, whatever you want to call it. I don't see how Jamal Hill, he's not going to submit him. I don't know that he's going to ground and pound him. And I don't think he's as dynamic a striker as Yuri Prohaska. So I got Prohaska on that one.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair play to that. That's where I'm kind of at with it. I also want to point out, and because if everybody's watched this show before, you know, one of Bill's biggest pet peeves behind zippering and traffic is the fact that the UFC, as a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar company, can't get their shit together when it comes to getting guys' pictures up and having pictures taken. I just want to point out, Bill, they've already got Moicano switched over.
Very nice. Well, yeah,
Very
they're in
nice.
panic
So,
mode.
they're in panic mode.
Dude,
It's not looking. I don't have anything on here yet. I'm not seeing Beneil Dariush. Again, we haven't been off the internet. I literally was able to put a post up for 5 minutes while Bill was interviewing Dustin Pague. That's the only digging I've done to this. I know clearly Moicano's in. I'm guessing Beneil Dariush probably got paid to just go home. He already made the weight.
Yeah, they'll take care of him.
Yeah, they'll take care of him. We kind of talked a little bit about Merab and Umar. We kind of already talked a little bit about Islam Hanato. I have no quarrels with Hanato Moicano winning the belt. I just don't think he's there yet. I think he's still got a round.
No, probably not. He's probably 2 levels below Umar. He's probably two levels below Islam Makhachev. Because you got to toss yourself in the. I think what's Moicano, number 10, number 12, something like that.
10, yeah.
10. You got to win a fight or two to get yourself into the top 5, which is harder to do. And then the whole next level is Islam. Islam's actually a champion. So you got a couple more. But man, I'm rooting for Money Moicano. What a post-fight interview that would be if he won. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Look, again, we're big on Moicano. I'm a huge Moicano fan, and I honestly, if anybody doesn't have the present skill set to do it, and he very well could. If anybody doesn't have the present skill set to do it, but the heart to do it, it's Money Moicano. In this division, it's Money Moicano.
He has a chance he has a chance for right now. This in about 24 hours, 30 hours, he has a chance to really change the course of his life forever.
Well, I think he already did. I think
no, he did.
What he just did right now, what he just did right now, his stock's way up.
If you win, you're one of the bigger stars of the UFC if you go in there and you beat Islam Makhachev at this event on one day notice. Like, yeah, your star power goes through the fucking roof. Yeah, everybody's going to give him the credit for the balls to step in there, but if you step in there and win, we could have Money Moicano as champ by Monday morning, man. Yeah. That'd be great. Oh, do you know the increase in his podcast listeners alone? He'd probably double overnight.
Bro, just in general, just Islam. If Money Moicano wins the lightweight UFC title tomorrow night, anything is possible. And again, I'm not saying Money Moicano is not going to be a 155 champion. He very well can. I'm just saying it might need to be after the Dagestani regime is over. I'm not, anything's possible. Anything can happen. MMA math, almost never mass. If you try and sit here and break it down, and I hate people that do. I'm Team Moicano. I'm over here saying, hey, look, let's be realistic. Let's be realistic on some stuff. I think he's not there yet. I think he's still got a little bit of time, and he does. He's not, as and again, so did Armin. But I also said that Armin was going to be able to take DP. Sorry, what did I say last week? DP had success. Armin would probably have more success in the places that DP had success and be able to take him to deeper waters than he was able to take, or he was going to have to take Armin to deeper waters than he did take DP to pull that out. Again, we're also talking about time. Islam Makhachev's been fighting for how long? It doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like a long time, but
they started
in term of a career.
His I'm not sure when fighting wise, but I'm sure his 1-versus-1 combat sports experience probably started a long time ago. I'm talking prior to 10 years old.
Way back beefing with dudes on the other side of the mountain range back in Dagestan.
Yep.
With that
probably,
being
like
said,
I said. Yep, good.
Hey, Cotton, I said with that being said, we were going to get ready to get out of here, but I'll let you make your point. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just saying you're right. They don't. When we have our kids in T-ball and Pee-wee football, those kids are already entering Sambo tournaments and shit,
Wrestling bears in the woods.
Yeah, they've been. When you see a champion at 24 years old, that guy has 22 years experience. It's like.
And you know what they say, Bill? You want your kid to be a good wrestler, send him Dagestan 2-3 years, forget it.
Yeah, forget he exists.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
All right. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back next Wednesday, the 22nd, with Maryland's Muay Thai phenom on the road to one championship, Gary Mack, next Wednesday, 7 p.m. And look for us all next weekend to bomb all your feeds with a bunch of shit, as me and Bill will be live on the ground in Knucklemania, Bkfc, Knucklemania 5 in Philly, Wells Fargo Center, live. Pat Brady, Johnny Garb, Dustin Pague. Who else? Taylor Starling.
Cody Russell, Eddie Alvarez, Jeremy Little, Heathen
Cody
Stevens. The chicks. I get it done. The one
Taylor
one,
Starling, Beck Rawlings.
she's hot. I saw her down at the bare knuckle fighting thing. Yeah, I can understand why her fan base.
And we took pictures with her.
I can understand why her fan base is as it is. Like, let's just put it out.
Kyle Thomas's fellow Australian, Beck Rawlings fighting on the card as well. So a bunch of different updates from that. Hopefully we link up with some people. We do, for those of you on Instagram that have messaged us and those of you that message me personally, we will be doing some type of lunch meetup in Philly. Where is to be decided. Baby. Cheesesteaks and wings, Bill. Cheesesteaks and wings.
Cheesesteaks and wings. Let's do it.
She wants wings. My baby wants wings for her birthday. She gets wings for her birthday.
I'm in.
If you see us, say hi. If you were out at Bare Knuckle, if you see us, say hi. We'll get a picture. We'll talk. We're going to have more info on the lunch meetup when we figure out where we're going next week. It'll probably be closer to last minute, but we appreciate everybody tuning in. I'll read my little spiel at the bottom and we'll get out of here. All episodes available at Chkm8 MMA on YouTube. Please follow, subscribe there. All clips and content available on socials at Chkm8 MMA. Noticing a trend here, guys. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, wherever, at Chkm8 MMA. And of course, we have our fresh roasted to-order specialty grade organic coffee, which is roasted when you order, shipped right to your house. tinyurl.com/Chkm8 roasters. Use the code Chkm8 at checkout for free shipping. It really is the best coffee you've probably ever tasted. And if you can't catch us live and you want to catch the audio version, or if you're like Bill and you can have the earbuds in during work and kind of doing nefarious shit on your forklift or what you may do,
I cannot.
Audio versions.
Good, my bad.
Bill cannot wear his headphones at work, and he does not do that. But if you work at a factory like Bill, and he does wear it, you wear your headphones at work, and you're trying to get through a fucking boring shift. Fight Show's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can go look us up, look it up under Fight Show. We appreciate you guys. Links in our link tree, linktree.com or linktree/Chkm8 MMA. If you just Google that, that'll get you wherever you need to go. We'll have the link in the description. Appreciate you guys. And until next Wednesday with Gary Mack, we'll see you next week. Fight Show, we're out.
See you, man.